Have you ever walked into a room and felt like nobody actually noticed you were there? You speak up, but people talk right over you. You send a text and hours tick by with no response. You share a solid idea and it barely gets a nod. Then, 10 minutes later, someone else says almost the exact same thing, and suddenly the whole room is agreeing with them. It is a uniquely frustrating loop. And if it happens enough times, you inevitably start internalizing the rejection. You start asking yourself the obvious question: what is wrong with me? Am I really just that boring? But the uncomfortable truth is, people usually do not ignore you because you lack a personality. They ignore you because you have accidentally trained them to tune you out. This happens when they fall into the approval trap, a psychological state where your mood, your confidence, and your actions become entirely tethered to how other people react to your presence. To avoid friction, you choose the safest opinions. You agree with everyone. You constantly adjust yourself to fit whatever the room wants. But a person who completely adapts themselves to their environment becomes practically invisible. People do not remember someone who simply mirrors them. Human attention is highly selective. The brain processes thousands of social inputs every minute, so it relies on a rapid filtering system to decide what actually matters and what should be ignored. Think about someone who constantly over-explains. They use constant talking to fill the silence. They apologize preemptively. They respond to every message within seconds. Their behavioral signal is loud, but to the brain, it registers as an overwhelming flood of low-value noise. Contrast that with someone who speaks less. They do not rush their words. They do not panic when a conversation falls silent. This restrained approach naturally commands attention. It signals to the brain's filtering system that this person's words have weight, not because they are inherently superior, but because their behavioral baseline establishes authority rather than anxiety. You can see this devaluation happen in real time when people try to say no. Instead of simply saying, "I can't make it," they offer a frantic 5-minute explanation, desperately trying to control how the other person perceives the rejection. This comes down to the basic economics of personal boundaries. Just like any market, supply dictates demand. If you are the person who always says yes, if you consistently drop your own plans and bend your schedule to accommodate someone else's minor inconvenience, your time stops being a resource and becomes a given. When time and energy are infinitely available, human beings subconsciously stop treating those resources as valuable. Setting a boundary does not mean you are rejecting someone. A boundary is simply data. It instructs others that your time is a finite, valuable resource, and it teaches them exactly how to treat it. When we sense we are being ignored, the immediate reflex is usually to panic and chase. If a text goes unanswered, we send another. If someone seems distant, we overperform to try and win them back. But desperation broadcasts a glaringly transparent signal of neediness. When you push harder for validation, people instinctively retreat from the pressure. The alternative to chasing is deliberate focus. You build genuine skills. You cultivate your own interests. You foster independent friendships that do not rely on constant validation. By stepping off the treadmill of pursuit, you break the cycle of devaluation. The most magnetic form of confidence is simple self-sufficiency. Knowing exactly who you are without demanding an audience to prove it. But focusing entirely on how the room perceives you masks a darker consequence of chronic people-pleasing. In the pursuit of being noticed, you start to make quiet internal sacrifices. You ignore your own preferences. You erase your own boundaries. You slowly abandon the independent goals that actually matter to you. You get trapped in an endless loop of asking, "Do they approve of me?" instead of asking the one question that provides true grounding: do I respect myself? External attention is volatile. You cannot control who likes you or who notices you. Tying your baseline self-worth to a metric that unpredictable guarantees a life of emotional instability and a slow loss of your own identity. Attention grabbed through sheer volume or physical appearance evaporates the moment you leave the room. But attention earned through actual competence generates lasting respect. The shift happens when you clearly define your non-negotiable values. You choose to listen, and you choose to speak only when you have genuine substance to add to the conversation. You stop begging people to understand you. You stop twisting your personality to fit into different social circles. True presence is not achieved by walking into a room and demanding everyone's attention. It is achieved by becoming completely secure in your own value, even when nobody else is watching.